I'd like to call to order the meeting of October 2nd, 2018. Would you all please stand for the invocation and pledge allegiance to the flag?
Lord, in your prayer, you will give our council members the faith and courage to carry on their duties. Help them to do right, to deal fairly with others, and to place their trust in you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A roll call. Here.
Sauber?
Here.
McDaniel?
Here.
Liston?
Here.
Bob? Here. Noel?
Here.
Wilson?
Here.
Willard?
Here.
Hudson?
Here. You'll receive the meeting minutes of September 18th. Any questions or comments on those? Not, we'll stand as presented. You received Park Recreation and Cemetery Board meeting minutes from August 27th as well as September 24th. Any comments on those?
I just want to mention that the Girl Scout bench down in the manager's report, it has actually been placed, and we totally finished getting that in today for us. I know that the Girl Scouts will do a like a ribbon cutting of sorts or whatever when we are not getting rained on.
Nothing under 8. We will move into the manager's report.
Did get the invitation sent out for the October 5th ribbon cutting ceremony for the water plant. Going to try to get that road open for, we had that wastewater line installed for the fire station. We're almost done, but we're going to try to at least get that road open during the time of that ribbon cutting ceremony to make sure that people can find their way. So, and we do plan on having an open house in the spring of 2019 too, for tours all day or something like that. To the general public, going to be working on that. So, the fire station is coming along well, and as I said, the sewer lines hopefully done in the next couple of days out there. Let's see, Mike and I went to AMP conference last week in Cleveland for the electric, and Jesse and I went to a seminar in Columbus for potential grants. Street department, we've been moving that dirt from behind the shop to make room for the leaves, doing pretty well on that. This week was the last brush pickup. Just continue to try to level that out there so we can get those leaves and brushes. The announcements for the bags that are going to be given away, those went out this week, so all the residents should get those, and there was a lower note on the bills too. We started draining the 1 million gallon tank at the water plant, and we're going to start doing that rehab that we've been wanting to do for years. It's pretty much empty right now, and that company should be here in the next couple of days. We'll continue to tweak some things at the plant. We did have some problems at a couple of the well locations we needed to repair. I did tell you that the leak seekers came into town looking for leaks. What they do is they go through town. They were here for an entire week, look at our entire system, and they give us a report back, and we were happy to report that they didn't find much. There just wasn't that much. It had been 10 years since we'd done it before, and when they had come in before, we found some pretty significant ones, but these were the ones that we did find were very small, and we'll be able to fix those relatively soon. So it was a minor issues, mainly on fire hydrant shutoffs. So we'll get on that. But we were I didn't know that. Parking cemetery, the closing down the pool, draining Mirror Lake, still mowing. Electric's catching up on service calls and late calls. And then, I guess the chief gave me some really good news this week. Him and his staff worked on a grant for a body armor program, and they received a 75% grant, which was worth to us $8,800. So just got that announced last Tuesday. So thanks, chief. Last thing I had was just I told many of you, DC Wellness requested a meeting, and I met with them. They did resign, and so now we have two jobs. One is select a broker and come up with some win-win ideas for the insurance. As I said in my report, I am open to suggestions. One, we could invite prospective brokers to council, and two, we could put one or more council members to work with the insurance committee. So if you guys want to open up that discussion and kind of give us some direction what you want to do. But we would have a list of at least 6 that we would probably consider at this point, and we're open to suggestions.
Are they all local?
They're either used by local or they are local. They've reached out to us in the past year or so. One of them, I know, is from Cuyahoga Falls or Akron, but they service one of the services Salem.
You know, this is $1 million project now. You know, health insurance costs the city $1 million coming up this year. I think it's a very significant issue, and I think we need to take a very serious look at, how we're going to deal with these issues. So I think for the sake of the discussion, everybody can throw in what they want, but I'd like to move that we appoint 3 members of City Council to the Insurance Committee for the purposes of interviewing and reviewing potential insurance brokers, to recommend 1 broker to council for being appointed as the city's insurance broker, and to review proposals for health insurance company, health insurance coverage, to recommend a proposal for council review and approval in 90 days.
Are you making it as a motion?
I made his motion.
Second.
Yeah, I just want to have discussion.
All right, so, are we, just questioning, are we allowed to have 3 council members on a committee? Or do we have to?
Sunshine law.
Yeah, or do we have to have it limited to 2?
I think you're allowed to have up to 3 councilmen together at one time without this being
If you have 4, you have a quorum, but 3 is not.
Okay.
Good question.
Why is it number 3?
Because of the extreme significance of this issue, and I'm open to hear anything, but I think it is really an important issue, and I think, as I said at the last meeting, if we get more of the city council members to be sitting at the table with our current insurance committee, we can start developing a dialogue so we can talk about things. But I think it's very important they have the existing insurance committee have a great opportunity to make input into any decisions we make, but that's why I recommended 3.
I think you're right. I think that's imperative that they have the input. My first thought on 3 was overpowering. I'm rambling right now.
Sure.
No, that's good. This is new to me. But it seems like it might be overpowering to the insurance committee. Council's taking over.
Well, when it goes to a vote, okay, if you vote it down and then pre-propose another number.
You could also just make a motion to amend that number.
Yeah,
That's
you
good.
can amend it.
I mean, I'm not saying that's right,
No,
but I just,
How many people are on the insurance committee?
4 meet, and then, I also show up, so 5.
So it still wouldn't give council any type of majority vote on that committee.
I think council's just there to be informed, I don't think they're there to vote.
No, I'm just, the way you frame it as a part of the committee, you probably also want that to make sure that that was part of your motion, that they would not have any.
I see where you're headed for, okay.
they have no voting power, they're just there to gather data, or to
Yeah,
listen and offer
input.
input.
Maybe, yeah.
If they would accept us offering input. They may not want that.
Well, I think it would be in the whole city's best interest for them to want it, so we're not in a position where, like we were in 2 weeks ago, where they thought one way and council thought it different.
I mean, ultimately, we're gonna just keep throwing it back at them if it's not acceptable by the majority up here, so
They never moved.
they're gonna want that, they're gonna wanna sit down and talk and back and forth and have that discourse.
First of all, health insurance is a very complex issue. It's a very complex issue, and I think the more people we have involved in making some of these decisions, I just think that's important. And I think, we won't run in, I think it's something we really need to take a look at, so. That's why I recommended 3. They're still gonna have, at the committee level, they're gonna have more voice, and that's good.
The other thing on here, you want, upon approval, for this to be reviewed and approved, whatever insurance plan within the next 90 days as well, correct?
And we did talk about that at the last meeting. That's why I put that in there.
Well, I think we have a deadline from what I understood at the last meeting, we have 90 days to make changes, and if we go beyond 90 days, we're up to next year before we can make those changes, so I think we do wanna have something, within those 90 days of the start of the contract, which wouldn't be 90 days from now, because I think the contract started October 1st.
I thought we had month to month.
Well, it's month to month,
Every
but,
month.
I mean, we can always end the contract on a month-to-month basis. But to make changes to the existing contract, I think we want to do it in the first 90 days. That was my understanding from the conversation.
I don't recall that second part, the 90 days, I think it was.
Well, he threw it out, I don't know, I may have misunderstood what he meant by it.
I recommended 90 days just because of the cost.
No.
I don't think they did.
I thought they said we had 90 days to make changes without affecting the contract. I could be wrong.
I think it's a good wall regardless.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a good goal.
Well, I think 90 days, what was running a sprint is now not a marathon, but a cross-country event. We have a new broker to find, and then continue to try and change something. I think 90 days is kind of rushing things.
That was my initial thought, that I just wanted to make sure we don't push ourselves to be rushing to accomplish this in 90 days. It might take us 90 days to find a broker we're comfortable with, let alone a new policy.
There are thousands of brokers out there.
Yeah.
They're gonna throw themselves at our feet. So,
Well, I'd just like to, that was a good question you asked, okay? Is it too much, now Randy Harper's out here, one of the people threw his name on the ring, for a potential broker. Is 90 days, if it took us till next meeting to come with a recommendation of a broker, that'd only give us 60 days to look for a product, correct? So, Randy, you want to just comment on, do you think?
Well, I think Mr. McBain was right. I thought I remembered in the paper that it mentioned that if you go beyond a certain date, you are prevented from making changes. I thought I read that, but I wasn't at the meeting, I was only going by what I read in the paper. But I think there was a time frame of which if you go beyond, you're not gonna be able to make changes on that plan. So if you've renewed it on a monthly, you pay each month. You pay your month, you get your coverage. But you can't change that plan, to my understanding, after a certain point. And I guess because the costs that potential savings that you're facing, my thought was regardless of what broker you go with, the sooner you make a decision on that plan, it's exceptional savings to the city.
Yes.
Yeah, so by saying that 90 days is not enough time, I just took the $300,000 spread between what we agreed to at the last meeting to what was on the table. That's $25,000 every month that you're lighting a match to. So if we wait 90 days, that's $75,000 of tax dollars that we just put on the floor and lit on fire.
Oh, let's say we have 60 days. What's the chances of us putting a decent package together in 60 days?
Oh, I think you can do it. I think any broker could put that together in 30 days.
I do too. I certainly do.
I think the time is adequate. You know, I think we need to target that 90-day figure. The next meeting, it's really, in 2 weeks, basically, so you're not cutting out a whole month, you're cutting out 2 weeks of that.
That's correct.
So, I think having that deadline, I mean, we may not make it, people miss deadlines. If that happens, it happens, but I think not having a deadline, not having a firm deadline is worse than trying to extend it. So I'm for the 90-day target, and, if we get it done sooner, that's great.
I'd like a little bit of clarification, or maybe I just don't understand. We can make changes to the existing benefits up to 90 days. After 90 days, we can't. If we go with another broker, another policy, it's going to change anyway, so who cares?
That would be correct. If you change carriers, if you stay with your current carrier, they may not allow you to make changes after a certain point past the renewal date.
Then we would go with somebody else.
Or another company, correct.
Or you might possibly go with the existing company, but they may insist on writing a new policy.
If you stay with, I'm sorry if I'm interrupting here, but if you stay with your existing carrier, you also may have the benefit of some back. They may let you buy a few days to put that plan. Let's say you went to the 8th, 9th, 10th of the month before you had, of course, you're going to vote on that meeting, but they might let you backdate that to the 1st of the prior month, and if you stay with the same carrier. You might buy a little time that way.
Yeah, I have no problem with what you proposed, Rick. I had some similar thoughts, although I was thinking more like 2 people. If we have 3 people that we think have the right background and have are willing to serve on the committee, and I'm happy with 3 people.
The motion dictates 3 people. Just throwing something out here. Would it be better if the motion said, we're going to present 3 people to the committee, rather than shoving it down your throat?
I think we pretty much decided we wanted to be on, have some members on.
Oh, we definitely do. I mean, that's, yeah.
Present that to them, I think that makes it more of an option.
Well,
I don't think we want to make it as an option, and I think you're going to find that getting 3 people who have the time and knowledge to participate in it is going to be the real question. I'll state right up front, that's not something I think I'm qualified to do. I've certainly had health insurance in the past, but I don't know anything about all the nuances of what exists today, and I just assume see somebody else with more experience in dealing with human relations and things like that doing it than me.
Well, I'm with you on that one too. I mean, I know that there are some people up here that are definitely qualified.
Yes.
I don't think I'd be doing our employees or anybody else justice by saying I want on that committee.
I mean, I certainly think there are 3 people that I could say I think are qualified to do this. There may be four, but I don't have a problem with it, but I think we ought to, say, these are the people that are going to participate, and I hope they agree to do it, and, go on from there. I don't think the committee should be given a choice of whether or not they're there.
How is the committee set up to begin with? How was it established? Is it in the charter, or?
It was actually in, the beginning of contracts when, unions came about, first collective bargaining. It's in the, agreement.
It's in the union contract.
Yeah.
So, if it's in the union contract and described in the union contract, we couldn't necessarily add 3 people to the committee, we would simply be adding 3 people as observers and input and that sort of stuff to the committee. I don't know how the contract's written, but.
How does it define the insurance committee? That was a good question.
It was in your package, but it says, member of, this insurance committee is gonna be a member of management, a member of, non-bargaining, non-management, and then one member from each, of the police and ASME unions.
I question if we can put anybody on the committee.
I don't think you have to formally put them right now onto a committee for council to participate in those meetings. So that, you don't have to vote. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's in everyone's best interest to be able to have open dialogue between the two. And that, based on what was in the contract, the way I read it, that committee is formed to try and make recommendations on how to help save money to the city. I mean, that wording was actually in the contract, and also speaks of trying to formulate what the best plan would be. I don't think that it makes any sense to do that without the people that are going to be hiring and paying for it to be a part of the discussion. I mean, that would be like, the way that last week's meeting was a perfect example. If you have something that they think they want without ever asking for it, you don't know if it's a possibility. You spend all this time down one path and you end up going down a completely different one because it makes sense to go down a different one than it was never brought up. I mean, no different than council not having a lot of experience with shopping for insurance. I bet there's not 1 or 2 people on that committee that are tasked with shopping for insurance for other employees on a regular basis. What to do. So, I mean, they're at the mercy of who's giving them advice. It would be best to have both parties at the table.
Well, I think for the committee's position too, having several council members participating in what's going on means that they're probably gonna have applicants sitting on the council for whatever's trying to decide.
Sure.
So I think it's to their benefit and our benefit both to have those people there.
You want to name who you want in the motion now? How do you want to do that?
I'm open. I mean, the 3 that I would pick would be Rick, Skip, and Dan, and not able to Ted.
Realize the more members of council that are on that committee, you are gonna be touching on the Open Meetings Act. So if anything is conducted in that, then you're gonna be going to notice at least 24 hours in advance.
Yeah, I
It is a
can.
public meeting.
Yeah, but I thought you could have up to 3 people that would be.
4 would be a meeting, 3 is not.
Majority is what it has to be.
Yeah.
So if there's 6 members, 3, you should be okay. But I do have one other question on the committee. Was it something that was made part of a bargain agreement?
Yeah,
the way it was
bargaining
actually
agreement.
set up,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
So, is the membership on that committee, is what council looking at, would that change basically how that committee operates? If it does, then I think you're gonna have enough contract.
Listen, you don't need to put them any council voting ability into that committee. I think this is more just representation, like a liaison between the groups.
If it's, and as long as who bargained for it agrees with that, I don't think it's a problem. But if they don't, then you could have a problem.
No, I think we still.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't know why anybody would have that, but I'm just saying from a technical or legal standpoint, the contract says what the contract says, and if that was made part of a contract, then the only way you can really change that is an MOU, memorandum of understanding, which in essence kind of opens up the contract.
But if you just create a group of 3 council members to bridge that conversation, and you show up at their meeting and they say, we don't want you here, then you can leave the meeting knowing that you guys still make the only decision. They're a recommending body only, and they would be making the decision to not give you their input. So, I mean, that way you wouldn't have to open any contracts. You're not changing the body of the committee.
So the needs to check, but he's saying maybe change the language that we would have where the liaison group will work with the insurance group.
If you want to actually change, if you are voting members of the committee, you'd have to change.
Yeah.
We have to open the contract.
And I don't think we want to.
But if you're going to be liaison, again, as long as everybody at that table says, come on in, then I don't know that then I don't see it as a problem. It's just you certainly can't force it as an MOU.
I don't think you'd want to force it. I think it would be good to know if they didn't want you there. That would,
Right.
that would speak volumes.
Well, we certainly wanna work with them.
Right.
And if they don't want us there, then so be it. But if they invite us in, I think that's a good thing, but we certainly wanna work with them.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was my point all along, was we didn't wanna try to force anything down their throats. You know, we're here to help, get to come from the government, I'm here to help. But to kind of usher this thing through and be a liaison back to council that says, yeah, this looks good, we're happy with it, help council understand it.
That's right. So should the term be changed to, in the motion, 3 people instead of being on the insurance committee as a liaison for the insurance committee?
Yes, we should do that.
Yes. And I would so change that.
But you just have to make a motion to amend your original motion.
We do that first.
Yes, do that first.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll vote on the amendment, then on the motion.
So if you've made that motion to amend it, as such, I will second it.
Okay, I do make that motion as such, that we are laying 3 at point 3 as a liaison to the council.
I respectfully, what you had to say about recommending before that, but my schedule at this point is jammed up, and I respectfully decline.
Okay. Well, me too, and, Ted, are you interested, or?
It's whatever my head, but I would do it.
That's important. Can I just make a technical point? I don't even think I got a second on my,
I seconded it.
Well, did you second? I didn't. I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't.
My schedule is awfully full too, Dee taking her doctors and things like that. I will try. If somebody else wants the position, they're welcome to it.
And if we have to, just as a comment, people can't go, I mean, it's okay to show up, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, whoever doesn't meet and shows up. But I think only those 3 should be ones who show up, not whoever feels like going that particular day.
Okay, so I make that motion that we change the language to 3 members to serve as liaison to the insurance committee for the purposes of what we said.
Right.
And you seconded
And I
that.
second it.
Okay.
I'll roll call on that.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Bug?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Now we need roll call on the motion as amended.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Bug?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Anything else there?
No.
You'll receive the, bill list for September 18th. Any comments on it? Not moving to old business. Through the length of the ordinances, can I have a motion to read them by title only?
Second.
So roll call?
McBain?
You know, I don't know, we only have one word. We should read it.
Nope.
Yes.
He told me I can ask anyone up here to do it. You can do it.
Yes.
All yours.
Wilson?
Yes.
Bug?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll never again read another one. I promise. Ordinance number 18-0-2981, second reading. An ordinance vacating 331.04 feet of West Railroad Street.
So moved.
Second.
I do have one question I should have asked last time and I didn't. Do we have utilities that run underneath this area or above this area that are gonna have to be relocated? or-
Yes, yes, and yes.
So, and that's all in the plans for what they're gonna do?
So in order to do this project, we knew that this was the linchpin, they needed to make sure that this was gonna pass. And now we know pretty much what we're up against. And, there's overhead lines, there's water lines, there's sewer lines, and there's soon to be storm line that needs to be there. But, we think we can manage our way through those, and we're seeking, an engineer, counsel for us to make sure that we protect us and them. And, it does maintain the easements through there. Let's just say there's a water line there and it breaks, we would be able to go in there and repair that.
Okay.
So, but I think there's many hurdles in this project, and vacation is just one of them, and then we have to start knocking down the others.
Any other comments? Have a roll call?
Wilson?
Yes.
Bug?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Now we need a motion to set trick or treat night in the city of Columbiana on October 31st, 2018, from 5 till 7 p.m.
So moved.
Comment? Anyone want to change the date or the time? Can I have a roll call?
Bug?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Anyone want to address council this evening?
I want to back up a little bit. Let's suppose that
think it's a good idea to have people
Okay,
that come
all right,
in and out.
just
I mean, that's something I hadn't considered, but, that the person who can't make it might ask someone else to substitute for that night. So I guess that would depend on what everybody else feels.
I think I liked the way it was set, just those original three, and that's it.
I mean, the thing with somebody new showing up is there's always some catch up and they're asking questions that have already
Sure.
been answered and things like
It's
that.
just,
Yeah.
something comes up, it's an emergency, or this or that or the other, we want to have a backup contingency plan, but that's fine.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, you can come up and just state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Randy Hart. I am a resident of Fairfield Township, but I am a broker and insurance agent here in town. I have a New York life office out on Route 14. And as a potential broker, one showing my hat in the ring, I just wanted to ask a question if I understand the purpose of your meeting. So if you have an insurance committee consisting of people that you read off of there, and your purpose is bringing a couple council members to that meeting to basically hear, the question I guess I have is, with a broker present, presenting ideas about potential insurance plans, is that the idea?
They didn't even go that far.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know whether that was to have a broker present at that meeting or not.
Well, there was this,
In some cases, the broker may be present, in other cases, he may not be present.
are you referring to the conversation about how to pick a broker? Because that was never decided upon tonight.
No, actually, I was just, the point of council coming to hear, I was wondering what they were going to hear. Were they going to hear from a broker, or they're gonna kick around the ideas that you've already got presented? And I guess all I was gonna say to that is, if I were a broker present, I think that would be a very constructive meeting. Because you would have a couple from council that have to approve this to be paid for. You're the one writing the check, along with the people that need to approve it for their various labor organizations. And to have all that being heard at the same meeting, presented, if insurance proposals were being presented by a broker, I think that would be very constructive, because then someone from council and the labor parties that are represented would hear it all at the same time.
That was the intent.
So we have not been, council has not been there, so we really don't know the meat and potatoes of those meetings. But I'm sure there are brokers there, but I don't know if they're at every meeting or not.
Council's gonna sit in on every meeting that they have, whether, and how they conduct their meetings. If they're talking to a broker, we'll be there. If they're caucusing among themselves, we'll be there, so.
Well, it seems like you have been very much handicapped by not being present in any of those meetings, because eventually you have to decide whether or not you can pay this bill or not.
Well, that's just that.
And a broker could recommend something that sounds wonderful to one group of people, but if they're not the ones writing the check to pay it, to hear it all at once, I think would be very constructive. That's all I'm really just curious about. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, just to clarify all this again, because you just made, what I'm assuming by the actions we've taken tonight, we have to select a broker. And, we meet again in 2 weeks, the council does, so it'd be really great if we could set up those interviews with the groups that have approached Lance with the, with the insurance committee, and we hear the presentations, and, then come back here at some point, 2 weeks or a month, and make a recommendation. Is that how everybody's understanding it? Okay. And is that, do we come to comments? I would just like to, let you know real quickly that, Lance has been informing all of you that Columbiana was one of 8 communities selected in the state of Ohio, and we've been doing, with the RCAP group, and we've been doing, community economic development planning. We have group people who have been involved. And, I guess I'm the lucky guy, but I got a chance, this last week to go to Keene, New Hampshire with the RCAP group, and there was a 3-day conference there regarding economic development and entrepreneurship for small cities and rural communities. And I got a chance to go with the group, and there's 4 other people from Ohio that went, and it was a great opportunity. I learned a lot. It's interesting to see how communities all over this country are struggling with, trying to deal with their downtowns and keep them, alive and successful. And so I had a really great time, and it was very enjoyable. And I know the RCAP group is going to continue for another year here in Columbiana, so we have a meeting planned October 10th to reconvene a group of people. We've got a great group of people here in Columbiana that have been involved, and Lance is very, very active, doing a great job with the group, keeping us all, organized around some plans we have. But I hope, I think hopefully in the next couple of months, you're going to start seeing some things coming back from that group. So thank you very much.
Yeah, we would like to thank RCAP for basically paid for that to happen. I mean, they're looking for grants all the time, and they'll call us up and say, hey, we can, we can send somebody here to this, this seminar or this function, and they end up coming up with the money to do it, so we're really excited.
Yeah, that was great. Great opportunity.
This coming Sunday, the Clipper Cross Country team is having a pancake breakfast out of the high school from 9 to 1. Definitely come out to eat. It's only $8, and you get pancakes, sausage, and fresh fruit, and your orange juice. So come out and support the team, and then that way they don't have to, try to sell you wrapping paper to pay for the new uniforms they got this year.
Just one last thing, there is a possibility that I'll be bringing, I have to make, I'm getting data in every day, but I may be presenting you, council later this month with a decision on a potential grant. We'll have to do it pretty quick, but I just opened up the email today, so just look forward to that in your packet.
I'd just like to say, I was a little disappointed reading in the paper that the school voiced their opposition to the tax incentives the city is working on. The whole point of that was to grow the city, which grows tax base. It's an investment that takes time to do so. But my thoughts on it, that to think that we're taking money away from the school by incenting people to move in that we don't currently have, I think is short-sighted. I hope it was just misunderstood, but I hope they'll work with the school, with the city, rather than against each other in trying to find ways to grow. And that is seriously a good one that grows the community and also grows the tax base long-term and incents people to reinvest in their homes. So I think if you reinvest in homes and you have places where people want to move in, and we do have a good school, and we have new homes being built, the tax base in 15 years when that clears is much larger than it is today. So it's an investment, and it takes time to get there. But we are not giving anything away. We are investing. Anything else?